Hey guys, I'm your host, Hellhound, and welcome to my Midnight Spook Show. Today we're going to do the Leatherface tag. That's right, all about Leatherface. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. And, looks like Leatherface is going to be a little stubborn, just like Jason was. But yeah, anyway, this is the Leatherface tag video. Sean Erschen, who created the video, tagged me, and I actually encouraged him to make this video, and he definitely delivered with some great questions. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise and the Leatherface character, so, well, without it out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, Sean Erschen's Leatherface tag. Question number 1. Who is your favorite character, aside from Leatherface, in the series? That's a tough one. I really love the Hitchhiker, played by Edwin Neal in the first movie, and then Chop Top, played by Bill Moseley in the second movie. Great villains, but I think I'm going to have to go with Drayton Sawyer, as played by Jim Sido from the first two movies. In the first movie, he was just known as the cook, or the old man. In the second movie, they actually gave him a name, Drayton Sawyer. He's kind of the patriarch of the family. Well, other than the grandpa anyway, who's who's like really old and frail and can't really even talk anymore. He's like pretty much dying. So Drayton's pretty much the leader of the clan, of the cannibalistic Sawyer family, and he's kind of the one who calls all the shots and stuff. Even though he doesn't take pleasure in killing, he's just the cook, at least according to his younger brothers. And yeah, he's got a lot of great lines. I like him. He's the only returning cast member from the first movie who's in the first two movies of the franchise. So yeah, I'd go with Drayton. It's played by the late Jim Sido. He's really fun to watch. Really cool villain. Really interesting character. Alright, question number 2. What actor portrayed the best Leatherface in the franchise? Oh, definitely Gunnar Hansen from the 1974 original classic. He was just awesome. He pretty much invented the character, too, because he came up with a lot of the things that made the character so popular. A lot of it was his own idea. Tobe Hooper, rest in peace, the director of the first two movies, he created the Leatherface character for the movie, but Gunnar Hansen added like his own ticks and like quirks to the character. I think it was his idea to like talk like gibberish and a few other things he contributed to the creation of the character, which I think is really cool. He's such an interesting character because he's not like Michael Myers and Jason, who wear masks to hide their identity. He wears a mask to gain an identity. He wants to be somebody. He's mentally retarded, so he pretty much just does what his older brothers tell him to do. Killing people so that they can be made into a gourmet meal to feed his family. So, yeah, I think Gunnar Hansen portrayed that the best. I think he brought the character to life better than all the others. I really like R.A. Mihailoff from Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3 as well. He was probably my second favorite Leatherface. And Bill Johnson was good, too, from the second movie. Alright, but yeah, definitely Gunnar Hansen. He was awesome, and he's no longer with us as well. A lot of people who worked on the first movie are gone now. Tobe Hooper, Paulie Partain, Marilyn Burns, Gunnar Hansen, Jim Sido. Yeah, a lot of them are no longer with us, which is very unfortunate. Alright, but anyway, question number 3. Who is the better final girl? Sally Hardesty from the first movie is played by Marilyn Burns, or Stretch, played by Caroline Williams from the second movie. Now, I'm going to have to go with Stretch because I feel like we really got to know her as a character. She was a little more fleshed out, a little more interesting. She had like more of a personality. Sally in the first movie we didn't really get to know her very well. She wasn't really that interesting of a character. She just kind of just screamed throughout the movie, like when she got kidnapped by the cannibalistic Sawyer clan. Stretch, I feel like, kind of fought back a little bit and kind of outsmarted Leatherface sometimes and kind of talked her way out of certain grim situations. So, the movie followed her a little bit, and plus she had great lungs as well. She was a great screamer, but it's a close one. Sally's really good too, but I think I'll go with Stretch in this case. Though again, it's very close. All right, question number 4. What are your thoughts on the continuity issues in the franchise? Oh wow, yeah, the continuity is a mess. It's just all over the place. The timeline is really, really, really hard to follow. It's not very coherent. It's not very linear. It's worse than the X-Men movies. And it's probably worse than the Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street franchises as well, because the thing is, each sequel, more or less, kind of pretends to only follow the first movie and ignore all the other sequels. Each sequel claims to be the true sequel. The only movies I consider canonical are the first two. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2, to me, are the only ones that really matter. I really like Leatherface. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, I thought it was good, but there wasn't much continuity with the second movie. It didn't really, aside from the Stretch cameo and the fact that he had Saw's family engraved on his chainsaw, which is a quote by Drayton in the second film, there's really not much connections between 2 and 3. Pretty much 3, I think, ignores 2 for the most part. As you can tell by the opening crawl at the beginning, and it claims to be like the true sequel. Leatherface even wears a leg brace in part 3, which I think maybe could have came from his wound that when he accidentally cut his leg when he fell on the ground at the end of the first movie when the truck driver hit him with the pliers or the wrench or whatever it was in the head. He fell on the ground and accidentally chainsawed his leg. I think that's why he wears the leg brace in part 3, which obviously he didn't have in part 2, so I think it ignores that movie. Then we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, which the opening crawl kind of claims that it's the true sequel to the first movie, though it just feels like more like a remake, a really crappy one, I might add. Then, of course, we have the remake and its prequel with no connection to the other movies. And then Texas Chainsaw 3D, which, again, only follows the first movie, ignores all the sequels. Then Leatherface, the prequel, the most recent installment in the series, only follows the first movie. It takes place before the first movie, and I think is actually connected to Texas Chainsaw 3D as well, but I think they should just pretend that one doesn't exist, because it really messed up the timeline with the age of the main girl. She should have been 40, not 18. Didn't make any sense. But anyway, yeah. Each sequel claims to be the true sequel. The continuity is a mess. The timeline's all over the place. It's really not a coherent series like the others. But yeah, I really wish the movies did follow each other more. But again, the only ones I consider canonical are the first two, so I don't even care. All right, yeah, pretty messed up continuity there. All right, question number 5. Does R. Lee Ermey make a better evil sheriff or a better evil drill sergeant? Now, I'm going to say R. Lee Ermey was probably my favorite part of the remake from 2003 and its prequel that came a few years later, Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. Aside from Leatherface, played by Andrew Bryniarski, who did a pretty good job. I think R. Lee Ermey was definitely the highlight of those movies. Yeah, he played an evil sheriff. He was kind of him and Leatherface were like the main killers of this time the Hewitt family instead of the Sawyer family, the Hewitts. Yeah, Thomas Hewitt and Sheriff Hoyt. The rest of the family members were annoying as hell, by the way. I hated all the rest of the family. Those are the only two that were made the movie worth watching. The rest of them sucked. But I think I'd say he makes a better drill sergeant because it's the character he always plays. In Full Metal Jacket, and he pretty much always plays that character. He was in The Frighteners, playing that same type of role. But really, he acted like a drill sergeant in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies as well. He was he was supposed to be the sheriff, but which he took the identity of the dead sheriff. He killed the sheriff and took his identity. I think before that his name was Charlie Hewitt, and he took on the guise of Winston Hoyt. But he pretty much acted like a drill sergeant there too. So either way, but he played a great villain. I really liked him in those movies. He definitely made them more worth watching, better than they probably were. All right, question number 6. Do you think Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 should have been more of a direct sequel? Well, it would have been nice if it had been, a little more connected with the first movie, I guess, but I kind of like that they took a different direction. It was a more comedic approach. It was more of a horror comedy. It was more, over the top, up to the gore and up to the action. It was but the less is more thing is definitely more true. The first movie was a lot more subtle and less in your face. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is more explicit. And as I said, there's a lot more humor to it. It had a much more humorous tone, which I kind of appreciate. I kind of like they did something different. Maybe a little more of a connection to the original, but you gotta understand, it came out 12 years after the first movie, so there's definitely going to be some kind of there's going to be some kind of difference in the tone. Yeah, I appreciate it for what it is. I love that movie. I love them both in such different ways. The original is a suspenseful, scary masterpiece of horror perfection. The second movie is a highly entertaining, very fun to watch thrill ride that just gets funnier every time you watch it. So I like them in different ways. And yeah, I maybe appreciate a little more of a connection to the first movie, but I like that they did something different. I appreciate it for what they did. Tobe Hooper did a great job with both movies in totally different ways. And yet, Part 2 does kind of feel a little more like a parody than a sequel, but I still love it. It's the only one that has the same family from the first movie, Grandpa and Drayton return. We even see the corpse of the hitchhiker, Nubbins, and then Chop Top, who's the hitchhiker's twin brother. He was in Vietnam in the first movie. So all the rest of the movies always change the family members around, aside from Leatherface and occasionally the grandpa. So never really cared for that. I like the original family. Which is why what I liked about the Leatherface prequel that just came out. We saw the original family. We saw Drayton and Nubbins and all them again. All right, question number 7. Who is more sadistic and evil? Real-life serial killer Ed Gein or Leatherface, the fictional murderer that he was based on? Now, if you don't know who Ed Gein is, look it up as soon as you close this video. Wow, was he crazy. My God, he murdered... He only killed 2 people that I know of. That we know of, I mean, but man, he made, but he was a grave robber, he was a cannibal, he wore human skin, he made a belt made out of nipples, he made a bowl made out of human skull, he did really messed up things with human remains. Wow, what an interesting character he was. Wow, now Leatherface was based on Ed Gein, as was Norman Bates and like a few other fictional horror movie villains. But I'm going to have to say, to answer the question, who's more sadistic and evil, I'm going to say Ed Gein, because he did all those horrible things. He only killed 2 people again. Leatherface has killed a lot more, obviously. But he did all those things on his own account. He did them because he wanted to. Leatherface kills, number 1, to feed his family. He thinks humans are food. Number 2, he's mentally retarded. He doesn't know what he's doing. His older brothers control him. They make him do the horrible things that he does. It's really not really... there's no hope for him. He's not really in control. He's just under the influence of his older brothers, who push him to do these terrible things, kill these people, and make them into meat. So I'm going to go with Ed Gein, though, because I don't really feel like Leatherface is like pure evil, like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger. I just feel like he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's insane. He's not in his right mind. He's being controlled by his older brothers. Yeah, definitely look up Ed Gein if you don't know who that is, because wow, boy, he wasn't just a serial killer. He was a lot more. But again, yeah, he only did kill 2 people, but the body count was low, but the shock factor is really high. Yeah, he might have been the most fucked up out of all the real-life serial killers. All right, question number 8. What is your favorite kill in the franchise? Oh, there's so many good ones, but I think I'll go with Franklin, Sally's brother, in the first movie being cut up by the chainsaw, which is actually the only chainsaw death in the entire movie. The first movie, that is. It's the only time somebody's killed by a chainsaw. Other times there's either a hammer, a mallet, I guess, or like a tomahawk, like a small axe, or a hook, a meat hook. So I think that was the only time somebody was killed by a chainsaw. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I love it because it just comes out of nowhere. Him and Franklin and Sally are just like wandering through the woods looking for their friends who have been missing for hours, and then Leatherface just comes out of nowhere, and just starts chainsawing him. His blood squirts all over Sally. It's the goriest moment in the entire movie, and I think it's definitely the best death, probably in the whole series. All right, now question number 9, the final question. What is your favorite line in the franchise? Oh man, this is there's a lot of good ones. Pretty much anything said by either Lefty, Drayton, or Chop Top. In the second movie, Lefty, yeah, that kid was so crazy, he sawed his own head off going 90 miles an hour, and I'm the Lord of the Harvest, and then Drayton saw his family, his whole speech about that, and his whole exchange with Lefty at the end, and when he's talking down to his younger brothers, and yeah, he's just hilarious. And then, Chop Top, oh yeah, music is my life, and dog will hunt, and get that bitch Leatherface, and oh yeah, there's so many great lines. Take your pick from the second movie. My second movie is the most quotable out of all of them. But yeah, anything's out of Lefty, Drayton, or Chop Top, they're just a blast. They have all the greatest lines. Just take your pick. All right, that was a final question. All right, guys, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching. If you want to do a response to this video, go ahead. I think the only person I'm going to tag is Bronco Juggalo Talks Movies. I'd like to see his thoughts. If he hasn't already made a video response to this, I'd like to see his thoughts on the Leatherface character in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I'd like to see his answers to these questions. So, Bronco Juggalo Talks Movies, you're it. Tag, you're it. You've been tagged. Anybody else who wants to make a response or answer these questions in the comments, feel free to do so. I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching my show. Keep it horror.